8.2Health Consultation Client1. Certain things can be controlled and others cannot. For example, controllable aspects can be a client's heart rate, blood pressure, sleeping pattern, diet, activity and stress levels, as these can all be improved upon when planning for a client. There are also things which are uncontrollable, which you can't improve upon but have to work around. For example, hereditary conditions, disabilities, medical conditions, allergies, and work hours. The health screening comparison that I conducted for my client clearly shows for heart rate, as his resting heart rate is 73. He is just in the average category for men his age, borderlining on below average. For blood pressure, his systolic blood pressure is 163, which compared to normative data is shown to be high blood pressure, and diastolic blood pressure is 89, which is pre-high blood pressure, very borderline high blood pressure, and I'll refer him to a doctor to make sure this is all fine. His health screen comparison on BMI is 20.3, which, judging on his height and the normative data, he is shown to be healthy. His lung function compared to normative data, with the average for his height being 550 millilitres, and his is 570, showing that he has an above average lung function. And finally, his waist to hip ratio, which is 0.85, which is good and extremely close to being excellent for males. For the health screen tests, I have put them into a chart which clearly shows which ones need improving and which are healthy. Heart rate and blood pressure both need improving, as the heart rate is average but could be better, and the blood pressure is high and pre-high, which isn't good for young males. The health screen tests have come back of the body mass index, lung function, and waist to hip ratio. For the health screen questionnaire, I have divided his answers up into strengths and areas of improvement for each category of the questionnaire. For the goals, he had a clear vision of what he wants to achieve and has a realistic time frame to do so. He performs at a high standard, and so which means he is used to demanding exercise. However, his areas for improvement is all the exercise on top of the additional workout could be too much for him, and he has decided to set 3 goals to reach, which could be too many, and may want to slim it down to 1 or 2. Physical activity strengths are that he does a lot of exercise already, so is clearly fit. He can be driven through competition, and he finds it easier to work out socially than individually. Areas for improvement, however, is he normally buses or trains, and could instead take action and try walking or cycling instead of busing. Trains is harder to get around as they're usually used for longer distances. His nutritional strengths are that he has 4 bottles of water a day, so he stays hydrated. He can cook some meals and has his 5 a day, which is more than most people. His areas for improvement, however, is he has fast food around once a week, which can be cut down, and he chooses to snack on sweets over fruit, which can be switched. He doesn't get 3 meals a day and can try and wake up earlier for breakfast or make it the day before and take it with him. Strengths for his lifestyle are that he doesn't smoke, he gets good amounts of sleep, and it doesn't matter where he exercises, so he can choose at the home or gym or wherever he is. Areas for improvement, though, is that he used to smoke, so we need to prevent him going back to that, and he feels stressed often, which is shown with his high blood pressure. He has no physical or medical health problems, which is good, showing that there are no area improvements for this. The first area to help my client 1 with is their nutrition and diet. This is because one of their long-term goals is they want to achieve is building muscle, and along with the fitness plan, having a good diet goes a long way with building muscle. The first issue I have identified with my client's diet is that they often to always miss out on breakfast due to them being late for commitments such as college or not having enough time to make it before going out. I suggest 2 different ways to combat this problem. The first is waking up earlier. This is hard to do, especially as the time they wake up normally being around 6:30 to 7 a.m. And with them not being a morning person may find this quite difficult, making this very hard to do. And if they do wake up early, then they may be tired for the evening, for when I am going to place their exercise plan, as they said they would prefer it. The second way to make sure that they have breakfast every day is by preparing it the night before. By doing this, he can either save time by not having to make it and just eat and go, or he can prepare it so he can take it with him on his way to whatever he needs to get to. The second nutritional issue I found is that he says he has fast food once a week. This can be improved as a fast food meal costs around £5, so instead of buying fast food, he can go to a food shop and buy a much healthier option. For example, as he wants to build muscle through this plan, he can buy some fish or something that contains protein, and a protein shake or a snack with fruit, like a banana or something with high carbs to keep himself energized for the rest of the day. He also needs to do this as by not eating fast food will lower his sodium intake, which will provide a lower blood pressure as fast food contains a lot of salt. The third problem is that he stated he would more often than not choose sweets over something healthy as a snack when he's feeling peckish. By changing what he snacks on to something like a bag of mixed nuts or some yogurt, or even a protein bar, this would help with getting him to be healthy, and less sugar going into the body, and more healthy options instead will slowly start to lower his blood pressure, which is needed as well because of his very high blood pressure. The fourth and final issue I found with the results recorded is that he can only cook certain things, and those things he can cook are pizza and curry, as said by himself. By changing what he can cook to a wider variety of things, this will enable him to have meals that benefit his performance as well as fuel him for the day. He could learn to cook some fish, eggs, or chicken to aid with muscle growth with protein, or just prevent fat gain, as making a greasy pizza will not do him well after a workout, when the body is trying to replace things it's lost. The second area I have seen that needs attention is with my client. One is concerning his blood pressure. As his blood pressure is high and pre-high, the first thing I'm going to do is get him to refer to a doctor to make sure everything is okay. If everything is okay, and it is okay to continue working with my client after his medical referral, I have put 4 different steps in place to help lower their blood pressure, to help them with exercise. The first way of lowering blood pressure I have identified for him is to reduce stress. This is because in the previous questionnaire they stated they feel stressed often. To help reduce stress, I suggest an app called Headspace. This plans out and guides out a set routine to meditate. It helps relax and bring calmness to the day within just a few minutes, so my client should be able to fit it in today. I recommend doing this once a day, at least every day, preferably before bed, so he gets enough sleep. The second way I have decided to target lowering his high blood pressure is by limiting the amount of alcohol he has. He has said during the questionnaire he only has alcohol on weekends, however did not specify how much. So if he is out drinking a fair bit every Friday and Saturday night, this would have to change, as it's adding to the blood pressure levels in him, which are already at an unhealthy state. By cutting down his alcohol consumption, this will lower the blood pressure levels, hopefully to an ideal state. However, if he does not drink that much, I will have to find another way of doing so. The third way I have found to lower their blood pressure also links into their nutrition, and that is to cut sodium-rich foods for potassium foods. This is because a high amount of sodium in the bloodstream causes damage to the kidneys, arteries, heart, and brain. Whereas replacing these for potassium-rich foods helps prevent all the damage caused by sodium buildup and offers the ability to lower the blood pressure. Foods that are potassium-rich are bananas, oranges, broccoli, peas, spinach, and these will all help to lower his blood pressure. The final way I have thought of lowering his blood pressure is to make sure that he does not go back to smoking. This is because smoking immediately raises your blood pressure temporarily, but also the chemicals in tobacco can damage the lining of the artery walls. This causes the arteries to narrow, which results in an increase in blood pressure And with their blood pressure already at a high state, this is an extra strain which is very unnecessary. The third and final area I have picked up on to help improve with my client is by lowering the heart rate from being average to at least good, if not excellent, within the year. I've done this by identifying different ways of achieving this goal. The first is by simply exercising the cardiac muscle. This can be done through any form of exercise, but is most effective when performing endurance exercise such as cycling or performing weights with low weights and high reps at the gym. By integrating this into his life, for example by changing a bus to a bike ride to college or work, it will help lower his heart rate, as it's exercising the cardiac muscle when he hasn't been during his normal life. Another way I have said to help improve this is by taking time out of his day to go jogging at least 3 times a week, and on weekends, if he has a dog, going on a brisk walk at a moderate intensity for at least half an hour. Lowering heart rate can also be done by reducing stress or relaxing, or performing yoga or meditation. I recommend performing yoga or meditation with the Headspace app, as it will help lower his blood pressure as well if he does this once a day before bed.